All right, welcome to Matters Are Rising this afternoon. Welcome Peter and welcome the Prophet Eli.
It shall be well with the country.
Okay, all right. Yeah. From a prophet, I mean, we know it's true.
Did you prophet? No, remember, God says the power of life and death lies here. So whoever you are, what comes out of your mouth, the acceptance by the third party is very important.
Preach on. But you know, the president has already told us we should not curse the country that we live in. But I normally say they should also do the right thing.
Of course, you see, cursing the country, the advice is because they actually have pushed Nigerians to a place of complaint. And you see, when people complain, you understand, definitely it comes from different directions. Somebody's complaint might just say, this thing is hurting me. Somebody's complaint will say, if this thing that is hurting me is being caused by somebody, you know, it becomes complaint when the government is not doing for our citizens what should be done. If you are doing the right thing, there will be praises. When Late Yaradua was alive, nobody complained. Rather, policies and things he was doing were things that people, Nigerians, were applauding. So if the government have realized or discovered that people are complaining, it means that a lot of things are not going right, like our bad roads, insecurity. All right, I was going to Kaduna over the weekend on Friday, and you could see the volume of soldiers on the road. This is the same country where the president had gone out to tell the whole world that security is stabilized now. Why will there be a situation where Nigerians were expecting influx of prominent people from Abuja to Kaduna over the weekend for the daughter's wedding of one of the top NNPC organs, and then the president, have functions in Kaduna. So you could see that there was so much presence of military. Coming back from Kaduna, it has reduced. Why? Because those elites have gone and come back safely. The question is this: why should we have a situation where today you put a lot of soldiers? Soldiers are not supposed to be on the road in a sane society, in a simple life living society. Okay. So complaint comes from pains.
Complaint comes from pain. Listen to our pain. That's very good. But there's something Wike said during yesterday's flag of road. He said he doesn't listen to what anybody says except the president alone. Well, it's okay. If we don't matter, that's fine. But what matters is that there's some stability coming to a lot of the impasse that we have had as a result of suspensions, different kind of suspension from the executive to the legislator. Fubara came back on the was it on Thursday last week, and as of today, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is back. Let me start from you, Peter.
Well, that is long overdue. I'm glad that she's back to her responsibility, and I wouldn't praise the Senate, neither would I praise judiciary. But how do they say it? There's this phrase they used to say. I don't remember the phrase I said, but it's a good thing, it's a good development. At least Kogi Central, right?
Oh yes,
they've been deprived of representation for a while, and which is not good. And it came at the right time because very soon, 2026 budget will be presented, or as we speak now, they are working on that budget. So Kogi Central would have lost out big time. So her coming back is a good thing. And earlier in the day, we heard that she was Teargas and her group were Teargas. That was before I think Senate leadership met, and they had a meeting on her case. And it was at that meeting they decided to let her back. And at the end of the day, she's back, which is good for democracy.
All right, Ella, your woman leader in Kogi State, a stakeholder of note, is back to the National Assembly. At least we can say now that they are well represented.
I smile again. I remember sometimes last week in this studio, I tried to advise the PDP to champion the position of Nigerians, to defend their ticket that had been stolen or suspended indirectly, stolen indirectly. And when you say the First Lady of Kogi State, I equally smile, because I realize that when the president is on seat, his wife is the First Lady, state governors' wives are First Lady.
No, I didn't say First Lady.
Well, whichever way.
I said a stakeholder.
A stakeholder. It's a good thing. At least they've saved us waste of resources, because myself here and a lot of Kogites and even Nigerians, because it wasn't like a Kogi issue alone. We're already preparing, like some of them went to the Senate today. Some of us had the privilege to hear that the resumption was equally postponed ahead a little, and probably that was why we weren't there. It's a good thing she's back, and like my second here said, it's not really a thing to be celebrated, because you see, in the first place, there wasn't any particular reason for this long, lengthy suspension, of 6 months, which, from different, judgments in our courts, and then from even the rules of the Senate and even this Constitution, there wasn't a room initially for all this prolonged suspension, over what should have been taken care of. I do hope that the Senate will not just say that she is being allowed back. They should be able to do what should be done, by not denying certain people their right, in representations. I hope they will not allow such a thing to come up again. Ability to address issues as at when supposed to be, as at when due, by both the Senate, and if somebody run to the judiciary should also understand. In certain cases where the person who brought matter before them or whose matter is brought before them have time frame of services. All right, so you don't waste that time. I don't know if this time she's suspended will be added to her time as a senator. Okay. When the next election is coming.
Definitely it's not going to be added, because there is a time frame within the house is inaugurated. Every house ends at a particular time frame. All right, let's move on from there a little bit. Our mother, it took her effort. I'm actually commending her for, if people have forgotten that the libraries are good for us in Nigeria, it took her birthday for her to plead for people to give towards the completion of the National Library. And so far, from what we are getting, she has been able to raise 20 billion naira to finish the National Library. I mean, it's just a good commendation from me to her. Peter, what do you think?
Nigeria, my Nigeria. So he has to take donations to finish a national treasury. So if she has not spoken up, that library would have been abandoned. See, like what I said earlier, what she has done is commendable. I don't hold any cross against her. I just should applaud her for doing what she has done, for dragging our attention to this issue that this library has been abandoned by successive governments. Where are our priorities? What are we focusing on? Okay, now she has raised 20 billion, which is okay. Then what is federal government doing about it? I hope the next budget cycle, a portion of the budget should be dedicated to this completion of this library. It can't be just barely by donation. And that brings me to this point that we should, as a nation, prioritize what is important to us. Education is a critical sector of every country. Any serious country invests heavily in education. What are we investing in education? How much are we putting in education? How are our schools? Now, because our first lady has had to do this, what happened to other national libraries? What happens to our library in Lagos, National Library? Have you seen the state it is? What money has been voted for it? Our unity schools, what state are they in? Or until first lady, maybe next year's budget, birthday, say, okay, people should donate towards physical unity schools. Until we do that, must it be at her core? This community, we should be proactive. Most times we are reactive in Nigeria. And these most people they are giving, most of them have been in power. Some of them could have been Minister of Education. What did they do when they had other positions? So actually, I lost words. I didn't even know what to say about this. It is baffling that we could come to this point that we take donations to do what we ought to do. Donations are good. There are orphanages home that you should invest in and get them up and running. There are international, like UNICEF. We should donate to those ones, but not what federal government is meant to do. Oh, should we do our roads based on donation? in 2 years time, we should do our next birthday. We should ask for donation to fix our roads. That is not it. The exception shouldn't be the rule. That's what is happening now. What should be commitment is becoming the mainstay.
Eli, there's a word Paul used in the Bible. He said, "Some preach to keep me in prison." He said, "Some preach for the love of Christ." He said, "Whichever way," he said, "the gospel is preached." What we are looking at is that the National Library is going to be giving attention to. I can understand Peter's grouse that the exception should not be the rule. But if the exception now works and the rule fails, the work is being done. Our mother has asked for a donation for the National Library since those in charge didn't deem it fit for us to have a good National Library. I think work done is work done.
Yeah, it's commendable somehow. At least you could have as well decide on a personal project and these people would have still donate, because you see, it's psychophancy, eye service, people want to be recognized, to feel, they're doing what is to be done. But my question here is this: now that she has taken this step, what's the next step to be taken? Because the truth is this: no matter how beautiful the National Library is being built, security, free Wi-Fi, good electricity, or whatever, don't be surprised if some Nigerian youths will go into that same library and use those facilities with their handsets and laptops and be doing illegal business, Yahoo, fraud, whatever. You know why? Because there's hunger in the land. There's no direction. I know too many graduates who painfully went to school. My wife is one of them. Painfully went to school, served, no carryover, no bad record from their schools. Where they served, the NYC discharge, whatever, was perfect. These people applied here and there, used their 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira, go online, apply for so many jobs. Jobs were not given. After they keep applying and keep waiting, years are piling up. Even the little job that government pretend to put to the public's domain, you know what happened? There's a time frame. I finished school at 24. I've been searching for a job for 16 years. I'm already 40. Eventually, government is telling me that if I have to apply to civil defense or federal fire, inland revenue, whatever government agency, I should be between the age of 18 and 35 or 30. They will tell you the reason is because when I'm 60, 65, I should have left service. Now, was it my fault that I wasn't given this job when I finished school? Have I not gone to school at the right time? Who is deceiving who?
So we should not do the National Library.
The National Library, if you are going to do National Library, you should also address a lot of things. Encourage people that if they read well and they do research and they come out with good results, there should be employment. There should be an enabling environment for them to either get a job, or if they have business ideas, it should not be selective. They should be able to be empowered.
But nobody guarantees you a job by going to school.
No, but at least the enabling environment. Yeah. You mustn't get government job. But what if you are going to school, you have ideas, and you don't even have security?
But what we are saying is that the woman should be commended for raising 20 billion naira to finish a national library, which will directly impact on
our youth and the general population. And she has done well, but the Nigeria of our dream, let Nigeria not happen to that 20 billion, because that 20 billion can equally be used as compensation to some APC members, contractors, and then this job, the job that will be done by the end of the day might not be up to 20 billion. She has done well. Let it be well monitored. Let other sectors be taking care of security, road infrastructure, and then encouragement, so that people will want to read, because you know that when you read and you come out of school with good result, you might either get government job or whatever you want to do. The environment.
All right.
The issue of job you're saying, I think it has to do with school curriculum. It should be tweaked, and it should be little amendments. We should introduce entrepreneurship in schools. Now, what to get to the school, just go and study A plus B, or 1 plus 1.
A lot of technical education should be encouraged, where people can produce.
If S minus S, if S plus S equals Z, will help in open economy. So we should introduce entrepreneurial study in the curriculum. All right. When you graduate, you can fend for yourself.
All right. Yesterday I was asking Philip when he was on this seat that why do we have factions? What is faction? Are we in a war or what are we? This faction, that faction. A body sits down, form a group and say this is what we are going to be doing. Everybody agrees to it. A constitution was written and everybody abide to it. It was registered with also a particular body that controls that body. After a while, they do an election and a body the executive comes out. After the executive come out, another person will go and form another executive and say, I don't agree with these people. At what point will they agree? What qualifies Gombe, Kachuku, and other people to be called a faction in ADC? What is their voice? Now they are saying that they can be, because if you know you can't work with ADC, take a leave and go. Now, what is their own would say, David Mark and Aragbeshola and the ESCO, new ESCO, we can work with them if they decide to join the ADC in the right way. What's the right way? What's the wrong way, Biko?
The issue, some of this word, they shouldn't be called faction, should be called rebel groups. And
they know what they do with rebel groups.
So they
should put them in jail.
They're not faction because you could be a faction where you have a stake in something. This is the man that resigned as a deputy national chairman. Now the substantive chairman has resigned. So why asking for you to take over the leadership? You've resigned the position, so you don't have any local standing to demand for that. So for me, it's not a faction, but he has a right. If you feel that his right has been infringed by this new executive, go to court and defend it. And some of these cases in court shouldn't attend to them because the basic question should be asked. On what ground are you demanding to be the chairman of this party? If you resign the position,
what's the local
you
standing?
cannot succeed the chairman because you're not the vice chairman. And again, this executive they are fighting, the neck of the party has ratified them. I've had issue with how they emerged, how they came on board. We discussed it extensively. We are not happy about it. But the party has done what they ought to do. They've had the NEC meeting.
And legalized it.
Which have legalized it, and NEC was there. So if what I think they're doing is noise, for me is noise, because it holds no water. If INEC has recognized it, INEC have said they were there when the NEC meeting held, everything was done in consonant with the constitution and the party's law. There's nothing else they could do. They're just making noise. They're just waiting for maybe somebody to come and patronize them. Because the hunger in this country is tangible. So everybody wants anything they can do to get patronage from federal government.
Why do the judiciary listen to all these voices?
I was going to say something about that. And when you say rebellion, I just smile. You know, that's a very good thing that came out of your mind. You know, because it's everywhere anyway. God created this world and he had angels with him and he allowed them certain rights to rule the world. All right, it came to a time, even as perfect as God is, devil begin to imagine. But you know, he forgot all of a sudden. If all of us sit on the same table to decide how the world is being ruled, why must it be this particular person always who will be supreme? All right, now, but there was a punishment. Now, when God found out that rebellion has come, he didn't just treat it with that his gentility, with his love alone. He threw the devil down. That's what we were taught in the holy books, all right? He threw the devil down. You know why? Two kings cannot be in the same ship. In the same palace. Now, what am I trying to emphasize? When they call faction, it's a way of using English to polish it. If you call it rebellion, which is the best language, what happens to a rebel? I think our judiciary and our laws are part of the problems that we are facing. We have a lot of national issues that should be addressed. Now, but when you allow certain persons to be causing diversion of interest and minds in certain things, it doesn't make us move ahead. Let there be punishment. For me, to be living in somebody's house, apartment, as a tenant, and because I've lived there for a very long period of time, I just decide to wake up one day and begin to claim ownership. That is theft, all right? There should be punishment for every crime that has to do with our time and resources wastage. you will see that people will adjust. Nigerians are very quick to adjust. When Tunde Idiabu and late Buhari were head of state, I was young, but I knew it. I didn't need anybody to tell me not to throw that granite peel or sugar cane to the street, because I knew there was war against indiscipline. You understand? So I think the problem of this part of the world is this: Nigerians are very cunning to an extent, and our environment allow certain things to just be happening, wasting, resources. Let there be punishment. There can't be anything like faction. Like I mentioned here before, if I think I'm a member of PDP or APC, and I think I'm an executive, it's very simple. Go to INEC website, press APC national or state executive where you are trying to claim ownership. It is glaring. If you are there, your name and telephone numbers are there. That is the only one job INEC have done that has always been perfect, because I happen to be there. If your name is not there and you are foolish enough to begin to drag the people whose name are there, try to distract them for carrying out their duty, any judge that your matter reach before his place should even send you to psychiatrics and send you to remand for 1 week. You will find that so that they will evaluate your brain. You find out that people will no longer be doing this nonsense.
The issue here is not people doing it. It's just that most parties that have this issue are introduced by external force, and not other external force that introduced this thing has control of the system. When Afrofai said that this government has captured institutions, this is what I say, because these people doing this, they know they will get scot-free. They know there will be no punishment. They know their paymasters controls the courts. Philip I said this, repeated this. Our problems are not the laws; it's those implementing it. Our laws of Nigeria, they are straightforward, they are open, but they know they control those that implement the law. So that's why they do this. I know they'll get away with it. Why will somebody that has no stake in the party come and lock the secretariat? I should be police, but that police will come and be guiding the person, do illegal work,
taking laws into their hands.
No, even not do the illegal work, because they have a paymaster. That's why this is not about to end. So that's my take on it.
Okay, all right. On the international scene, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, where they've exited the ECOWAS, they've also exited the International Criminal Court at The Hague. Man, it's kind of, what would I call it, neo-colonialist institution that are mainly targeted at Africans. Now, some African countries are standing up to this new colonialist institution. How long can they go, Peter?
I think Africans are beginning to wake up. I'm glad with what's happening. I might not be 100% glad that it's the under military rule, but we Africans should develop our own style of leadership. This Oyibo's leadership has not worked for us. You can't come, see what's happening in Benin. You come to a country, a whole country does not have a central bank. The central bank is being controlled in France. Or Africa becomes their raw material, their farm, where they come and farm, go and finish and bring the end product back to us. So we should take hold of our God-given natural resources. I have not been there, but from what I've heard about Burkina Faso, the young man is doing exceptionally well. Most of the borrowing we're doing today, we don't need it. We can fund our economy. See, Nigeria is blessed with oil, gas, gold, tin. Nigeria is naturally blessed. It's our arable lands. These countries don't have it. So we should stop looking at them. We see, we've served them enough. That's what this country is saying. We've served them enough. We should take hold of our destiny. Imagine Nigeria getting leadership right. That's why it will be very hard. I said this most often. It will be very hard for us to get leadership right, because external factors doesn't want us to get it right. But once we get it right, whoever governs Nigeria will not be their puppets. Like today, if you come into an illegal means, they will show you the card. They'll play the card before you. We'll control the media, international media. We can make life unmanageable for you. So you have to dance to your tune. Why will they come and tell us to remove oil subsidy? Wait till tomorrow, America is subsidizing their grains. Must we, due to what they say, why would they come and control China? China till today, till tomorrow, controls the currency. China manipulates the currency so that it won't be too high. So why won't we have our own control of how we live our life?
Our own manipulative way of making
Why
sure.
won't we have our control our own resources? They will tell you that you can't sell crude oil to your local industry at local rate. You know, it has to be international rate. Who does that? So what is the comparative advantage that we are producing?
President Tinubu has graciously done that for Dangote to make sure that they can get a crude oil in naira.
At what rate now?
At what rate? And
example that naira to dollar is 1,500. You are giving Dangote price of dollars at 1,002. You're just like he's paying naira. It's international rate. Why would Dangote buy what we're selling to other people? When he's refining locally, selling to local markets.
But he's also selling an international market.
That's what you do. Every sport.
But Dangote is selling an international market at the dollar price.
I'm saying that every international sales, there should be difference between local sales. There should be enough margin. Because now, is these same people that are suffering the environmental hazard that happens from oil exploration? So are you compensating them? Is the farmlands, the aquatic life in this people
that are suffering?
They're suffering.
Yes.
So are they being compensated? If they are still buying their crude at the same rate somebody in Ghana will buy. So we should fight all these things. We should not allow an IMF determine how we live our life. US does not allow IMF World Bank to determine how they run our economy. Neither do Russia, neither do China, neither do UK. Why is it in Africa?
All right. Now, that's for Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. Now, in looking at it, what we are asking, can they sustain this fight? Especially, most of our economies are tied to developed countries. Can they sustain it?
Our economies are tied to developed countries because we've made ourselves, slaves. When Mama Gaddafi was alive, he never depended on any of these foreign countries.
Because he had a lot of oil.
It doesn't matter. We still have. Okay, what does France have? What does Britain have? What do they have?
What natural resources?
What natural resources do they have, excluding the brain, which they use in bringing us together? We have it all. They don't have. They're manipulating us.
But we have seen our president go repeatedly to most of this country.
Well, that is
all the time.
And we complain. Some of us complain about it. And that is one of the reasons why we are where we are today in terms of economy and security. When you refuse to discover, to realize the potentials God has deposited in you, to enable yourself to grow, you're looking out for something. You are the mercy of that person. The question here is this. You asked me a very direct question here. But for now, nobody knew that the leadership in these three West African countries you mentioned would have even survived.
So this long.
And the question here is this. Comparing the time that these young men decide to take the faith of their country into consideration beyond personal interest, what is the difference in terms of development compared to how they were under democracy? You will agree with me. I'm not discouraging democracy in Africa, in any African countries. I'm not encouraging the military rule, but my brother, which one favors the people and the country more? You agree with me that is what they are doing. So if they survive this long, Nigeria was like bullying them, making our president was the ECOWAS chairman at this thing. At the time this happened, so far so good. A lot of the giants of Africa, a lot of the big countries in Africa are beginning to chicken out. They're beginning to keep quiet because these guys' achievement is exposing their own failure. If they've survived to this extent, I will not be surprised if what they are doing is right.
But it's also still obvious that they are shifting to we like to call it the Eastern Bloc.
Yes.
Do you understand? Which is China
Russia.
and Russia.
Now, how does China and Russia go? policy-wise, and you see these two countries you mentioned do not also depend on the West.
And secondly, they really interfere in the internal running of the country.
But
stay away from that.
But economically, China is colonizing a lot of not just African nations, especially
Because of our leadership.
Apart from
our
that,
leadership,
why
we
doing
sell
that?
out to them.
Why do you do
Why
that?
they doing that? Let me tell you what they do.
Okay.
They knew what other Western was we are not able to do. Now, China now will treat you as kinsley. China will give you this product and ask you to pay instrumentally. All those people, they suffocated us with their fake loans.
Yes.
The NGOs that come here, they'll think they spent, the NGOs spent about 5 billion in Zamfara. It's not 5 billion. About 60% of that 5 billion
Stolen.
is for logistics. See for them. At the end of the day, what coming to that locality might be less than 20%. But China will bring that money, you see it. Look at our
roads, some of our roads. Airport.
Makodi Road.
Okay.
Makodi Affair. People be with China. It will say it. So China has given Africans cheaper loan, cheaper options,
Yes.
which they are not giving. And let me tell you, say why, how can we survive it? What do we actually need them for? Must we wear their clothes? Must we drive their cars? No, tell me. Must we eat their food? Most of what they sent to us, they took it from us. The raw material, they took it from us.
And refine them.
So how can we beat our industry when they keep exploiting us, taking our raw products?
So whose fault?
Our leadership. We are beginning to wake up. That's what I'm saying. They sold them to us, bought it. At the point in one's life, you will wake up to reality. This company is waking up to the reality. Every year, do you know how much of uranium France carry from Niger? I don't know single plants. So the place you can come and carry uranium, why would you establish plants there?
All right, let me move forward a little bit. In talking about wising up and looking at the economy, we already discussed it in the morning how the borders are already open, and we discussed the issues that may arise as a result of the borders being open. Because on the short term it's going to be good, but on the long term it's going to be very disadvantaged to our investors, manufacturing companies, and our local producers and agrarian way of growing things. But the federal government, in their wisdom, they have reduced interest rate for the first time in 5 years. Do you think it's going to help local industries?
Well, if the interest rates, all right, reduce, encourage importation of raw materials, machineries, and if the government will encourage local production in terms of improving seriously on our securities, improving on our roads, improving the sincere giving of loans to people that actually need them, for people like me seated here, you seated here, a lot of Nigerians have so many ideas and we really want to produce things by ourselves, all right, but the reason is we're not doing this thing is because, one, security. If you want to do farming today, you won't do farming in Wuse, Wuye, Garki. No, you have to go to the outskirts. I went somewhere on Thursday here in Abuja, just around Zuba. If you go behind Zuba, that Tungamaji, like the back of Gwagwalada, I am telling you, if they close your eye and pick you up in a vehicle, in a chopper and drop you there, you will swear that it's not Abuja. I never knew we have such, I won't call it forest because there are no trees, but vast land. You could stand here and see as far as Gwagwalada.
Arable land.
But then when they were taking me there, I was afraid. I went checking the land. What do I see? Little farmers and little Fulanis. And something crossed my mind. If I am caught here, what happens?
You will reduce.
But you question you ask
So government, when you open border, all right, and all you have done is just to open border, and you allow people just to be importing what we should be producing, and you are not thinking of how to improve local production, you are killing us.
So one of the way of thinking of how to increase local production now is by lowering interest rate in loans.
At what rate? What percentage? I'll tell you now. Forget this in the paper. interest rate was 27.0.5. Remove 0.5. The margin is very, very. I'm going to see. As it stands now, it is very, very. What is the right word there to say? Use there. It's very, very difficult for a good businessman to take loan from Nigeria commercial bank and do a business. What margins are you allowed to make? 20 to 30%, and you're taking interest at 27%. What margin are you going to do?
And what's your payment?
Everything you want. See, you're taking a government contract, we expect to make maximum 30%, between 20 and 30%. And you're taking interest a facility.
That's all things being equal.
At 27%. So it is very, very, forget very talk. And again, about importation, everything what government they have done, they've done to themselves. Now they've told the world they cannot stick with their policy. Few weeks down the line, they told us they're going to focus on made in Nigerian products. Nigeria should go into agricultural production. People should come and invest in this country. Imagine a foreigner now coming in with here. We are praying for direct foreign investment. He came in with $10 million. He came and invested in the agricultural sector. 2 months later, they've opened the border to bring rice. Because of cost of production in Nigeria, we cannot compete with products coming from China. No local producer can compete. So you've told Nigerians to invest in this sector, and less than 2 months, you've opened up the border to bring in goods. So how will these people survive? And again, that man that invested in local production, what are you doing? You're pushing him out of business. Those employees, what will happen? They go unemployed. But the chain reaction, they're not seeing it. Now, they're doing this because of politics. They want Nigeria to believe that their policy has worked. That's why price of food has fallen down. You cannot sustain this. You are killing your local industry that we don't even have. What should you do? Because of the cost of production inside Nigeria, you subsidize it. You buy up those grains. That's how you encourage local manufacturers. Provide them the roads, it will fall. Let the price of fuel come down. Cost of logistics will come down. Every industrialist in Nigeria, they actually produce everything for itself, provide everything for itself. You provide security, you provide transportation, you provide electricity. They charge everything. What do you do as a businessman? You mark up based on all their costs. So until they look at this thing critically, they are trying to score cheap political points. At the same time, they are discouraging foreign direct investment to come in. But I cannot come. That
will bring in a lot of dollars.
I cannot come to a system that they do not respect their policies. They do policies somersault every other day. Nobody brings his money to an economy that is not stable. That you cannot even guarantee what the government will do tomorrow. I can give you an example. Those that planted grains, I have a friend. He was discussing with us. He told us point blank that he's dead. He can't sell his grain. And people say, yes, they are being wicked, they are exploitative. Ask some people, do you know the cost of production in Nigeria? Do you know the cost of producing rice in Nigeria? Do you know the cost of securing the farm? Do you know what the cost? Do you know the cost of transportation? Mm-hmm. So why won't his product be expensive? If government has provided all these things, our goods in Nigeria will be cheaper. But we provide everything for ourselves. That's why most of the international companies are leaving. They are all left. How many international companies are producing in Nigeria? How many? Because their product cannot compete. Don't even look at it. But the product from China can keep any product to produce in Nigeria because of the price.
It brings it down to the maximum. All right, to the minimum. All right, now wahala. The insecurity that we're talking about. Benue State is at the news again. I mean, incessant killings, ambushes by these terrorists that now look. Nigeria went to Liberia, fought, and helped the country to stabilize. Nigeria went to Sierra Leone, fought and helped the country to stabilize. How come the insecurity that is affecting Nigeria has now look as if they are stronger than the forces of Nigeria? Because this is against the sovereignty of this country. These are not the local armed robbers and all that. Benue State, I mean, and it's just too much.
Nigeria led ECOMOG to Liberia, Sierra Leone, and some other, even United Nations missions, and achieved. The answer is very simple. They were funded by not Nigerian government alone, ECOMOG and the UN. They did not travel to these countries and stay in the cities. When they got there, they identified where those rebels were camped, where those rebels were coming from. They went after them. Attack is a beautiful means of defense. Here in Nigeria, let, God forbid, be driving your car from here now, get to approach Wuse, let there be robbery or kidnapping. You see checkpoint of army and soldier and police here. As far as he did not attack them directly, they will tell you they are waiting for orders. It is not their duty post. Have you not gone sometimes passes on banks? You see bank securities there with their guns. In front of the bank, you see armed robbers overtake a proposed customer to that same bank, shoot the person, drag with them, collect, and they won't release one bullet. You know why? We are not sincere here in this country. Your chief of army staff, your chief of defense staff, I told you, the commander-in-chief went to Kaduna over the weekend. You could see the kind of security on Kaduna Road. They won't deny that. Is the life of these people better than the life of the rest of us? While I was coming back yesterday, the security reduced to the usual it used to be. Meanwhile, these people are not even going by the road. But because there's a searchlight on them in that state now, they don't want that thing to happen so that the whole world will understand that the message we're passing out is not what is actually obtainable on ground. So the question here is this. If the government is sincere in tackling this insecurity, they don't need to wait until it happens before they will send soldiers there. We all know the direction these things are coming from. You understand? The same way they wait for these things to happen before they go after them. Don't wait for them. You go after this. I said it the other day. If our security agents, where do we have hotspots? Go into those places.
Now the hotspots that you are talking, let me go to Peter. A gunman kidnapped Plateau State House of Assembly member from his residence. Is that a hotspot?
It's not a hotspot. It's not a hotspot. This shows you that it's, I don't want to use the word, but it just looks like a failed state. When criminality happens without fear, you'll see it in our face. It looks like we are helpless. Let me start from that Benue we just discussed now that we adopted. I want to take another angle to it. Do you know the kind of business that happens there? Kidnapping now, banditry is the multi-billion-naira business. So a few years down the line, one of our drivers were kidnapped along Kaduna Zaria Road. They took him. He stayed with them for some weeks. Yeah, ransom was paid. We paid ransom because federal government couldn't help us. Nigerian government paid us. But when he came back, things he said to us marveled us. They made us feel hopeless. He said at the camp they were kept, every Thursday a chopper will come in. A poor man cannot afford to get a chopper. Will come in and pick the high profile people they've kidnapped to another camp. So his own work is to count the bullets. Where are they getting the bullets from? Now, for Nigeria military, how will you have their budget increased? It's by this thing happen consistently. They would demand for more money.
Are you trying to tell me that there will be...
It is a multi-billion business.
Are you trying to tell me that there will be a chopper flying over Nigerian skies without the...
That's what we're saying. And that's without them seeing it, they are saying it. So this business now, this thing is not just security, it has become a business. every group is cashing out. Not is cashing out, but if it happens repeatedly, they demand for more money. They want to buy more arms. We want to equip our men more. So every person is making money out of the ordinary man on the streets. The ordinary man is one that has been the brunt. I feel sorry for that house person that was kidnapped. He's one of the few elites that get involved in tackling these things. Who are being kidnapped? How many of them go through Nigerian roads? How many of them go to their farms to go and farm? It is their workers they send there that get kidnapped. It those that come and fight flying. That, like my friend that traveled from here to Kaduna, he seen that his life is in danger. But these people they fly above the kidnappers to their destination. They can afford to take private jets. So this business, if we don't stop cutting their supplies, the business aspect, where do they keep their monies?
Are you trying to tell me also that the federal or those that are responsible, because one of the ways to stop terrorism is to cut their fundings and their supplies.
Very good.
Do you understand? Because we don't produce arms in Nigeria. We don't produce the pallets to which they used for most of these things. We know routes to which they come in. We have the immigration, we have the custom, we have the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, we have road safety, and beside the major military distinct, and we can't still do this. Where are we headed to?
I mean, as I said, this question, how do they bank the money they get? See, if
my brother, the answer to that question is very simple.
If they say about ending this,
80% of these monies are not taken to the banks. When they went in between Imo State and Anambra State, that House of Reps member or that state legislative member that when they went to kill that Yahoo, whatever they call Yahoo, and then they free some kidnapped people. What happened? How did they achieve it? It's because they made up their mind and went after them. The major, or was it a major, or lieutenant colonel that was kidnapped in Delta like 3 weeks ago, got his freedom when the heat became much and they ran and left him. The truth is this, let's not romance this, let's not deceive ourselves. This thing will continue as long as government is treating them with glove and with romancing them. This Kaduna road we talked about and many of our highways, you find out that where these things begin to happen and it becomes a recurrent something, what do the government do? First, they clear the bush path. You understand the language? And increase
visibility.
That is it. You think they became tired after the attack on the Kaduna train? No. Government, a little measure. What was the measure? You found out that when planes stop in any of our routes today, before 1 minute, helicopters are already there. Soldiers are already there. They know where these people are. When they killed those wonderful young officers here between the border of Buhari and Kaduna, one of them was from my side. All right? What did the military do? The DSS, the army, they became angry, they went after them. When last did you hear of such things? It is not all these kidnappers they kill anyway they bring to the public anyway. They waste them. So if they want to get these people, they are not spirit, they are human. And they have, okay, the other time I saw videos here in Niger State with carrying 2-3 people with those long modern guns on bike, like 200 machine, over 1,000 people, and you are telling me that with all the satellite we have, they don't know the direction. Government is not sincere about this. The security force is not taking it very personal. If they take it personal, they decide like today from the neighboring, okay, the resources you have may not go around at the same time. But when you have high cases, Niger State, under one funny day, in the early morning, the Air Force, the Army, the Navy, everybody, the planes, the ones on the ground, the artilleries, the drones, my brother, they will eliminate these people.
I think I agree with him. You remember what federal government did to modular refineries? When they decided on the case, it was from air. But those modular refineries, that's people that stays in rivers and somewhere in Imo State. One you just wake up, and the Air Force, I mean, has passed it was an explosion.
Yes. So they know where these people are.
All right. I don't think we can take more than this. So many other things in the news. Lagos State House of Assembly to spend 4.5 billion to procure 50 kVA generator for lawmakers. Wow.
They just care about themselves.
All right, then the other one, Wike joins body of benchers, procession to call to bar. At call to bar, of course, we also know that his son was one of the person that was being called to bar in Abuja today. The wife was still there. One of the son that is just graduating, I think the first one, Jordan, if I'm correct. That was one of the person that is alleged that they have transferred some $1 million house to. I wonder where he has worked that he got that kind of money, or well, whatever he got it. He's the son of Yesom Wike. It's been a wonderful day. We brought you breaking news that Natasha is back in the house. Of course, there was a little squabble at the front, at the entrance, where security men have to throw Teargas to keep some people away that were following Natasha to resume today. But I think all is well and calm. It's been a wonderful time. Eli, thank you. Peter, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, because I want to call you P.
Speak for yourself. What is happening to us? Peter said, "See if I go. Have I known?" He didn't say, "Have we?" So speak for yourself.
Okay, I'm expecting something from you. All right, thank you. It's been landslide news, matters arising. Thank you very much.